Happy 4th of July, everybody. If you're watching this later, I hope you had a happy 4th of July or that you have one in a few weeks, depending on what time frame you're in. I'm going to be talking today about what Aristotle has to say about happiness. And I think it's important because there's a lot of people, myself included, who used to think that in order to be happy, this had to happen first, and then I would be happy. And so I want to make sure that it's clear that happiness always only depends on us and is something that we must work on a daily basis. So the book that I'm taking the information from is called Aristotle's Way by Edith Hall. And I really love the ancient wisdom. I think the ancient wisdom is so important, and it shows us that nothing is new under the sun. So I hope this helps you out today. Ultimately, Aristotle says the goal of human life is happiness, or finding a person in order to realize our potential and work on how we become the best version of ourselves. You are your own moral agent, he says, but must act in an interconnected world, meaning that we have people all around us all the time. Those people can influence us, or we can see that they are not aligned with the same morals we are. And that's when we choose where we're going to go, what we're going to do. He puts us all in charge of our own happiness, making certain we know that happiness is always up to us. We don't need to be sure. We do need to be sure, to ponder and make plans, but also discern our intentions and realize that if others are present, their happiness also needs to be considered in the mix. In other words, if it's going to make somebody completely miserable what we do just for our own happiness, then that's not a good idea either. He asks us to first work with the situation we find ourselves in, and then focus on our intentions, flexibility, common sense, autonomy, and consult with other people if we need to. In other words, do everything that we can in order to ensure that we're doing the correct moral thing that can bring us so much happiness. Ultimately, we can always decide to be happy, even in the midst of some really rotten stuff. Once we do, our state of mind becomes a lot easier as it becomes a habit that we have that becomes ingrained in us. Living in a competent and planned manner is something that we choose to do in order to control our lives and our destiny. And this does not mean we have to be toxically positive. This just means that it is finding the good in everything that matters, even the things that don't seem good at the time. For Aristotle, happiness is an activity, and it's not constituted by any kind of material gain. In other words, I'll be happy when I have this, I'll be happy when I get this. All of those things don't matter. We can be happy in whatever we have, whatever moment we're in. Life for Aristotle consists of having an active mind, and he believed that most of us gained more pleasure learning about our world, and not just academically, but in order for us to ponder everything around us and where our place is in it. It is also tied to our virtues, being a good person, being a kind and loving person, particularly to ourselves. Nobody would call a man or a human ideally happy that has got only a particle of courage, nor of self-control, decency, or sense, and is afraid of the flies that flutter by him. We cannot refrain from any of the most outrageous activities in order to gratify a desire to eat or drink, to ruin our friends for the sake of money, or the senseless and mistaken intellectuality as infantile or lunacy. And I'll say that again, or for us to mistake intellectually what it is that we're doing by acting like a child or someone that's a lunatic. Being happy has a few caveats, but this one seemed important to mention. People who spend their life in the public or political sphere have a goal to achieve: fame and honor and recognition. They're not happy to act good, but to be recognized. They believe that being recognized will bring them happiness. This is false to achieve. Being both self-efficient and self-reliant are two of the traits, he says, to living a good and happy life. It is acting as our own moral agent and choices made limited by obligations to others. This is because if you intend to be happy through practicing fairness in your dealings, you need someone to be fair too. People who wish to live well and treat others fairly must first love themselves to be happy. Happiness is never compatible with self-loathing. We can't hate ourselves and be happy, ever. While bad luck can deter our happiness, and we know this, we do have the free will to determine our own outlook and work to control our own destiny, even though it's dependent upon things that happen out of our control. He felt even in adversity, goodness shines through, and our choice to choose an optimistic moral system is always something important for us to remember. Were we happy during life? He says we can only truly know after we're dead. Wishing to be happy or happier requires us to focus, requires us to have courage and conviction. We must live as if until we feel it permeate our souls and uplift our vibrations. Make the choice to be happy. And if you can't feel it, then make it happen by being open to it and saying that you are happy until you start to feel that it's real for you. Wonderful words today from the great Greek Aristotle. Thanks, everybody. Be happy.